Hello and welcome to the Gamestorm Magic Podcast. I am Tom Denby.
I'm Dan Horgan, and today we're joined with the long-awaited guest of...
Brian Atkins?
Yeah.
Is that your name? Are you not sure?
You seem
Brian
very...
Atkins? Question mark?
well,
Is that me?
Well, I've been missing from this podcast.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on here for like the whole time.
Since
Since
the first
the
episode?
Yes.
You're like, no man, my lady.
Well, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Your guys' schedule is awful. Mine is better than yours, and never works out with yours.
All right, so first we want to congratulate you on making it to the RPTQ and then scrubbing out.
It was like an asterisk making it to the RPTQ because I had my opponent in the finals of the PBTU concede to me, and I don't know how that match would have gone. It was a Jeskai mirror. Basically, whoever lands Niv Mizzet and kills the other person first wins.
Oh, that's fun magic.
Yeah, well, that would have been a tough one.
Yeah.
Who knows how it would have gone? But there were many problems with the tournament as far as like someone's record was not showing correctly, so he had to go back and redo all the rounds. Then screwed that up, and then go back and had to redo all the rounds again.
That's the classic right there.
So we waited like an extra hour or so, and we were just tired, and he was like, I'll just concede to you. I don't care about the RPTQ. So yay for me.
I mean, hey, you know, any way you make it, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
remember that
asterisks.
day.
yeah, it's like the guy who, you know, didn't get into the top 8 of a GP because he was colluding with his opponent, even though his opponent jokingly said, hey, you want to just concede to me and I'll give you all the winnings. He didn't report it, and then both of them were DQ'd. Both of them had top 8 contention. Neither one made it into the top 8 because of it.
Yeah, there is a certain way to word things
Correct.
like that. And
Yes. That is not the
there's
answer.
a certain way to negotiate. There's only certain things you can negotiate, but
That is not one of them.
no.
Correct.
No, it's not.
That is literally just cheating.
Yes. Yes, they announce it a lot over the big speakers. That you can't do that. But I mean, both those neither one of those players made the top 8. So like, the guy who got in to the top 8 because of that, I mean, he still made the top 8 regardless, right?
Exactly.
So you still made it to the
Take 'em as you
RBQ.
can.
Yeah, and then you went 03.
I remember
03
that
drop.
day. You were playing my deck, weren't you?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, you were like, I don't like my version of Jeskai, and I was like, do you want to play my version of Jeskai? And you looked at it, you're like, I do want to play your version of Jeskai today, and then you ended up losing round 1, and then just basically dumpster fired the rest of the day. Yeah. I remember that day.
Yeah, so one thing we want to get into is this new Mulligan rule that they're going to be testing out at the Mythic Championship or the Pro Tour or whatever you want to call it.
So it's not for this current Pro Tour.
Okay, so it's the next one?
as we speak. It's going to be at Mythic Championship London. And
Okay.
basically what it is in the current Scry rule is you mulligan down to 6, you like your hand, you keep it, then you get to scry before the game starts.
Right.
This new mulligan rule, instead of doing that, you will, so say you don't like your 7, you mull down to 6. You're going to draw 7 cards, and you're going to choose one that you don't like, or the way that they word it is you're going to choose the 6 that you do like.
Right.
It's
And
essentially
the
like,
card that you don't like will go to the bottom. Same thing with 5. You draw 7, you keep 5.
if you guys remember back in the day, it's essentially that partial Paris mulligan.
Vancouver, yeah.
Yeah,
Something- yeah,
in a similar
It's
line.
similar to the
Yeah.
Vancouver Mulligan, yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence about it. We were talking about it earlier, and I can't remember who said it, but I think their analysis might be a little spot on in that it's gonna make combo really powerful.
In Eternal formats, I don't think
Correct.
it'll
Not in
really. It's
standard,
not going to
no.
really do anything in standard or draft.
No,
Right, but
it's-
the problem is where you're going into like modern and legacy and vintage, especially like vintage. Vintage Dredge
Legacy, yeah.
feeds off that.
yeah.
Vintage Dredge always wins turn 1 if you give them that.
Yeah.
So the
like,
problem here
all
is
they have to do is basically find a Bazaar of Baghdad. When
Right.
you're looking at 7 cards every time, it's not that
exactly. And so if they're trying to do something where it's like standard has this and other formats don't, I don't really like that because there's no continuity between formats then.
Exactly.
And I think that's where they're going to run into the problem here. It's not going to be with standard, and I mean this.
Well, they said they're gonna be doing it for all formats.
Right.
It's just a test. It's just
Right.
a test for London.
I don't like the
forget
test,
what format
though.
that is.
I
like
believe
that
it's
it's a
standard.
test.
And if it is standard, then it's not going to be a viable test. Because they need to test it in Modern, Legacy, and Vintage. I mean,
Well,
sure, Vintage isn't a very competitive format because it's kind of just casual. There's not really any big Vintage tournaments.
To a degree, yeah.
To a degree,
Like,
right?
I think, like, they have the play design team and everything. They'll
Yeah.
end up testing it in other formats.
And obviously they've tested it already because they wouldn't be putting it in without testing it.
Right, they don't think it's
some extent.
obviously that big of a deal, but they can only test as far as the design team goes. They can't really
Right.
account for essentially the millions of Magic players worldwide that are going to figure out how to break that.
Exactly.
And that's the type of rule that you can break very easily.
Right.
Yeah.
With the right deck, I mean.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
Exactly. Like a deck like Dredge is the
Yeah.
Perfect example.
For a perfect example, Dredge, I mean, even Storm. Even
Yeah,
Storm being able to mulligan to make sure that they have their 0 drops and
A
whatnot.
deck like Ad
Or-
Nauseam.
Right, or any deck that plays Chalice to make sure, like let's say you're in game 2 and you know that you're playing against Storm, and you want that Chalice on 1, you're gonna mull till you find that Chalice.
Yeah, Tron is probably another deck that would
Really benefit from that.
benefit. I don't want to say it would abuse it, but it would benefit.
Oh yeah, no, and it's
It
just
would
like
definitely benefit.
I mean, every archetype's going to be, quote, buffed by this. You know what I mean? Every deck is essentially going to get a power level raise in that regard, in regards to mulligans, because mulligans are no longer going to be that big of a deal. But
Right.
I think it's going to be an unsided buff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
like-
going to be
Like decks
much
like
more.
Jund or
They're going to be
maybe
happier
even like
with it.
blue-white control
Right.
in Modern.
The fair decks.
They're going to have an advantage, but or I should say they're going to get like a buff from this,
Right,
but they're
they'll
not
feel
going
the
to get
power level
something.
increase.
They're not going to get the increase that Tron or Storm or
That's
Ad
what the
Nauseam
point
are
I'm
gonna get.
making.
Yeah.
Exactly. The fair decks are not gonna really feel it as much as the decks that are unfair are.
And if we do see this, I saw Billy Anderson comment. He said, "Serum powder prices go up." Probably,
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
yeah.
Just all the free mulligans.
Yeah. Just like I'm for sure seeing 7. Let's just
I'm
make sure
for
I get to
sure
keep the
seeing
7,
the
right? Like
perfect
As your
7.
as your
Literally
local
just stacking
Leylines
your deck.
player, I'm very happy to see
Leyline,
this.
Leylines get so much better with
No,
that.
it
'cause you
does
get
not.
you get to
Leylines is
mulligan
not
to
good.
whatever Leyline you want.
No,
That's
Leylines
true.
is not good though.
You get to mulligan to whatever Leyline you want to.
Yeah, but
No,
that
the
only
deck Leylines is
matters
not
in
good.
like
I know.
matchups.
Leylines
Yeah.
as a sideboard option, though, I think is what he's getting at. They get,
Yeah.
consequently, they get hugely buffed by this.
Yeah, Leylines as cards themselves.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that's what you were
Leyline,
getting
Yeah.
at,
avoid
right?
Leyline.
Or were you
Essentially.
saying the Leylines deck? Because if you were
Both.
to get out of the room, like...
I mean, it does.
It's a little
but
bit better.
The
I mean,
deck's a joke.
Yeah, it
I'd
goes
say
up
Leyline-
to 0.1% increase. Good job, idiot.
I play it just
Hey,
because it's hilarious and
the
it doesn't
Leylines-
lose the burn.
The
That's
Leylines
true.
deck does get slightly better. I mean,
that is true.
it's not tier
It-
4 garbage now. It's like tier 3 garbage.
No, it's like tier 3.75 garbage. Go
Exactly.
No, it's
But a
tier
0.25
10. Let's be
increase.
real. It's tier 10.
Okay, so it goes to tier 9 now.
Sure.
It's like one of the worst against the odds decks MTG Goldfish ever put out.
It's so fun
It's
though.
so bad, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
The best is
I don't
like,
know if he put that out, but it really seems like a him deck.
the best is when you don't even kill him with the opalescence, you get him with the fucking helm of obedience.
Oh man, get him!
Especially when it's on their own rest in peace.
Yeah.
I have done that. With no ley line of the void, they're sitting there with a rest in peace. I'm like, yeah, you're dead.
Good job, dude.
So good.
I'm gonna say I'm a fan that they're trying to experiment with new stuff.
Yeah.
This seems like it has the potential to be a mistake, and I
Yeah.
think that we're gonna see a lot of decks for that Pro Tour that are meant to like really abuse that type of effect,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna play a really linear strategy that
Right.
is gonna really be able to benefit from mulliganing properly.
Yeah, and that Pro Tour is not going to necessarily help change a format at all. Because if they go to that Pro Tour and then they decide after that Pro Tour that mulligan rule did not work, then that Pro Tour for the competitive
It'll be a
event,
vacuum.
it literally none of the decks will make sense. None of them will be very good in standard or modern or whatever.
Right.
That Pro Tour is also going to be really interesting because not only are they doing the new mulligan rule, but as far as I know, what they're going to do is for the draft portion of that Pro Tour, they're going to use what is it, War of the Spark? That's the next.
The new one.
They're going to
Yeah.
do that, and that is before the release.
That's
Oh.
weird.
Or that might be release weekend. I'm not sure, but they're going to do it
That's
for that
interesting.
Pro Tour and see how it goes.
That's
Because
kinda
now
cool.
you got to see everyone kind of learn on the fly.
Yeah.
They're going to have, I think, 2 days.
I like that.
They're going to have 2 days on, I believe, Arena.
See, I really,
to
I-
really learn. And
I
that's
really,
it.
really like that because it shows why those players are at the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
exactly.
so than if you have been playing the same draft set and you've been able to practice
Trash,
over and
bro.
over again and be like, well, here's the archetype that's super good. Let me just draft that all the time.
Yeah,
This is going to
you-
show.
As it
This
goes
is going to.
live.
You're going to see players like your Ben Starks fucking just
Yeah.
no life those 2 days before
That's
the
what
Pro
I'm saying.
Tour.
Yep.
Arena's gonna
You're
crash.
gonna.
Yeah.
As soon as it goes
No,
live, they're
it's-
gonna be like sitting there camping it.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're because I don't think they're going to release it for everyone. I don't know if they're going to do accounts or they're going to give people playing in this Pro Tour like one of the codes.
Yeah, so
to-
they can
to
like
get
draft
it.
with each other, maybe.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
you
really
could-
know how they're going to.
I was gonna say because if they'd only have to be able to draft with each other at that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
I
they
don't
could
know.
I mean,
Like
currently
drafts.
currently you draft with a bot,
Exactly.
and then you
draft
play
with
against other players.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
Yeah.
I don't actually play Arena. I've never actually been on Arena
Well,
once.
you should try it. It's
No, I don't
actually-
like doing the computer stuff.
It's actually fun.
Well, it's nice. It's better than Magic Online.
Oh, hands down. The
broken
only
format.
thing I don't like about Arena, I'm just kind of going off on a tangent here, but the only thing I don't like about Arena is that I can't like pay to get wild cards to build the deck I want to build.
Yeah,
I
you
need
pay
to
get packs and then you get wild
Right.
cards.
I have to like hope I open everything though. Like to get 4 mythic wild cards. Like let's say I need 8
Yeah, but,
mythics
like-
in my deck. I have to buy so many packs. Whereas I'd rather just like pay to be able to buy a wild card so I can get the card I need.
Yeah, I don't know if they're.
Gotta use the bathroom. Bye, everybody.
All right. Tom will be back in a minute.
But I don't know if they'll end up doing something like that where it's you can buy wild cards. It'll probably just be like, all right, just keep buying packs. We're gonna keep padding our pockets and
Right. Yeah.
just kind of slog through. Like this last set, I spent $100 on gems just to open a butt ton of boosters and everything, and just get as many wild cards as I possibly could, and as many cards in the new set as I could. Really, just open Shocklands.
Yeah. No, I.
No Hydroid Crassus, nothing like that.
See, that's really rough. Like those are the
But,
cards
I
you
mean-
need though. Like,
But then
they're
again,
not
like,
easy to come by.
You spend $100 the one time on gems, and you can either spend that on infinite drafts or tons and tons of packs to where you get enough wild cards to get whatever you want, anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess so. But
I had enough wild cards after that to just like kind of go ham and just get and start building whatever I wanted.
yeah,
That emergency
I'm not at
powers
that
deck,
point.
by the way, was not good.
Wait, what emergency powers?
The smothering tide of the emergency powers deck that I
No,
was
see, what you
like,
need in that
clamoring
deck.
about.
You know what you need in that deck? Rampage of the Clans.
I don't know.
Get a bunch of treasures, destroy them all, make them all into 3/3s.
Oh, I was doing the Revel and Riches plan.
Oh, okay. I mean, but this is more
Revel and
fun.
Riches and like all kinds of
Yeah,
like,
no, Nick
goofy things.
Foscaris was on a deck that was trying to use Rampage of the Clans. Interesting deck, just he never saw the Rampage of the Clans when he needed it.
Yeah, I just wanted emergency powers to be good. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, no, it's
Not
not that good. Yeah, no.
What format are you playing, Brian? You're not playing?
No.
What do you mean you're not playing?
He's here to do the podcast. That's some dedication.
Podcast.
I appreciate you. You're still a loser.
Sometimes. All right. When in Rome.
What does that even mean?
Figure it
in
out.
Rome. Figure it out yourself.
I don't know. Maybe I'll like play a couple rounds, whatever. But what else we have to talk about?
We got no more MSRP.
Oh boy.
This is
Um,
interesting.
Yeah.
I honestly think this is one of the bigger mistakes they will have made this year.
I do have an opinion. I don't. It's good for the stores. It's bad for us.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think one of the reasons Wizards is going with this, and granted, this is my own crazy little rabbit hole, is that since they've taken away PBTQs,
Yes.
Stores don't make as much money from those types of tournaments anymore because, well, they're not around.
Right.
I think they're bringing out MCQs, Mythic Championship qualifiers, but I think they're going to be like the old style PTQs where they're like larger events instead of like PTQ that
Well,
are PTQ.
So they had, when I was reading that, when we did the podcast, this was like our first or second podcast that we did.
We did it with Rob, I think.
We talked about this, and I believe that there's more than just the qualifier. I believe there's I believe it's the same system as PPTQs, but by winning the other extra qualifier that's below like a PPTQ, you have to get first place and then you go to the Pro Tour.
So I'm pretty sure eventually all the local stores will have them again.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
From what we
gathered,
it was very.
We could be wrong about that.
Right.
It won't
the whole
just
thing
be
was
any
vague.
local store. I think it'll be the stores because they keep track of how many players play at stores.
Correct.
Like Gamestorm is, of course, one of the ones that, if they were to introduce this
Right.
type of thing for certain stores, this would be one of the stores they would do it for because
Right.
we have a ton of people on Friday nights.
Yeah,
The
Sundays
place is standing
do,
room
like-
only for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah. But stores like Dean's Dugout, which
Right.
is much, much smaller.
Right.
And they really only got that large amount of traffic from PPTQs.
Correct.
I don't think they would end up getting something like the Mythic Championship.
Right.
qualifier.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to honestly drive down sealed product sale. There's one thing you would want to do as far as promoting the sale of sealed product, which is really how Wizards makes the majority of their money off of the card game, right? Is just selling sealed product. They're going to really discourage it if the stores are going to start jacking up price.
I mean, realistically, MSRP is just recommended.
No, I know.
So,
I'm just,
stores
it's just
can
a
jack up
possibility.
price currently. They can lower price. That's why a lot of stores you'll see 3 for 10 standard pack, right? Rather than 3 for 12. What the MSRP would recommend is each pack costs $4. A lot of stores will be like, well, if you buy 3, we'll give them to you for 10. You get $2 discounts. You get one pack half price, right? So, you see that now, where if I still think it's going to be a competition though, because
and I was gonna say there's
yeah,
also the converse
there's-
where the stores could start competing with each other
correct
and start lowering the
start
price of
lowering
packs.
prices.
There's two ways it goes, or
Yeah.
it could just nothing could happen. Prices will just literally stay the same. There's
Well,
3 outcomes in that way.
Yeah, but you also have to realize the people that run these stores, they talk to each other.
Right.
Mhm.
They try not to schedule PBTQs on the same day as another PBTQ, or if they do, they're usually farther out. Where
Right.
It's it doesn't really affect the local players as much.
Right.
Very rarely do you see them schedule something huge at the same time as another store that's within 20 miles or so.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also think that again, this is another way for the stores to make money and kind of make up for the fact that they may not have PPTQs or the MCQs, and just kind of pad that, and maybe it'll raise packs $1, maybe, but
Maybe, or like we said, they could drop prices too at the same time, or
I don't
stay the
see
same.
That's not going to happen.
I-
You're not going to see packs drop.
You probably don't, but you never know.
Possible.
It's a possibility if stores start trying to compete with each other.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, you see it.
Who
You see
knows
it.
what's going to happen
Right.
with this?
I was gonna say, you see the competition in prices when it comes to PBTQ scheduling, right?
Yeah.
So if 2 stores within let's say 30 miles of each other have a big tournament on the same weekend, typically one store will just drop their price by $10 to try to accommodate, be like, hey, I know this is 30 miles more for you, but it's $10 less than this store, type of thing.
That's true.
You see it there, so I wonder, I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it could happen with packs as well, or
Yeah.
sealed product in general.
This no MSRP thing is just like Pandora's box.
Right, yeah, we don't know.
Until we open it.
So I guess we'll tell you in a later podcast what happens.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be bad.
I
I have no faith.
Hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next thing we want to get to is Nexus being banned in Best of 1 on Arena and then the take on that, and then applying it to Paper Magic.
It didn't even get banned in best of threes in Arena. I think it's
Correct.
just best of ones is like its own little animal, right? It's kind of how there's Commander, and then there's Frontier, and then there's what's that other stupid format nobody plays?
Pauper?
You know,
A lot of people play Pauper. You'd be
Pauper's
surprised.
All right.
No, I
Shut
get
your
it.
mouth.
It's still a stupid format.
Pauper has
You're
a
a stupid format.
Pauper has a banned list.
Right, I get that. Now Best of Ones does also. It's its own format, you know what I mean? And I'm totally fine with it being banned there. After I saw that nonsense with Shahar Shenhar. Did you see that?
I have not seen it. I've only heard stories.
Oh
It's
man,
great.
it's hilarious.
Is it the one where he just draws the match on forever, just casting Nexus
Not
over and
him,
over
his
again?
opponent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because his opponent wouldn't scoop.
His opponent literally just had 4 Nexus of Fates in
Oh.
his deck. That was his whole deck. And he literally just sat there casting Nexus of Fate for like 2 hours.
That's
And
great.
Shahar Shenhar refused to concede.
Why would you not concede?
No, because he was on stream and he's like, I'm not conceding.
We're just gonna see what happens.
He's like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna click until this guy gives up. Until he realizes he can't win no more.
Did his opponent give up?
Eventually.
Okay.
Shahar, when his opponent realized that he wasn't gonna outlast Shahar Shenhar, like, and
See-
apparently it blew. Here's the thing. Apparently, like, his stream started blowing up
Yeah.
while this was going on, and it got all over Twitter. There was like 10,000
It was
retweets
everywhere.
within an hour. The dude got like banned immediately. He was the first person to ever get banned in Arena. So he got a 2-hour ban.
That's
you know,
hilarious.
So he could go take a nap, you know, and think about what he did.
Why ban him? He was playing the game. He was doing a constant action. It's not against the rules.
You have at some point you have
Alright,
to
we
take
need
a
to not
different.
like promote trolling on the podcast.
No, but like an actual rule is at some point you have to take a different game action. You cannot
Right.
just sit there and do the same thing over and over.
Right,
without
they'll
purpose.
disqualify you for that.
Yeah.
You do get.
Well,
game
no, they'll make you
losses
pass the
and-
turn.
Yeah.
It won't DQ you for that.
Right. Yeah. So
Well,
I guess not
that's
game
what I
losses,
meant.
but-
Like they'll just you lose. You
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah. It's.
It'd be nice if there was like online judges on Arena to just be like, hey, come give me a ruling here. Because
Oh, get
'Cause
outta
this
here.
guy-
How many online judges are you gonna have?
no, you don't like just have an automated judge, essentially, to where it goes. This person can only do this
Why
loop
is
so
there
many
no
times.
timers?
There's-
Why does Magic
That-
Online
that also
have
that.
timers and there's no timers on Arena?
That's true. That's one thing.
I mean, even if you give, because there's a lot of newer players on Arena compared to Magic Online, even if you give both players 45 minutes, you know,
For a
what I
best
mean?
of one, right?
You,
Like,
you know, there's no, oh, well, I really needed some time to think. Okay, fine. You didn't get to sit there, though, and do what that dude did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eventually, you timed out and lost.
yeah.
That's the kind of the point that could be a real simple fix to something like that.
I think at some point they might implement some kind of timer for like maybe the ranked ones.
That's what
where-
I would guess.
But I don't think they're going to do it now because Arena's still having bugs.
right.
Arena's still having connection bugs and all
It's still
sorts of.
new and shit.
And
but
don't
that's-
get me started about the wilderness reclamation bug. I don't know if it's fixed yet, but I have not touched Magic Arena since I realized that it basically like auto passes your turn. Like your wilderness reclamation triggers go on the stack, but it just resolves them and you end your turn.
No.
That's hilarious.
And like you do have to put an end of turn stop in there, but like the first click is like doesn't work. So you have to like click it on, then click it off again, then click it on, and it's just a hassle. And
It
I
is
was
a
just like,
hassle.
I'm off it. Like, I don't care.
We're done
I'll
here.
go test them in paper, whatever.
So do you think it is going to transpire to Paper Magic at all? The
No.
banning? No.
Well, here's the thing. Nexus isn't good in Paper Magic.
I think it all depends on this Pro Tour.
Yeah. I have
however,
to agree. here.
With that said, neither of you have watched any of it. I have
not,
I've
yeah.
watched a little. Sultai seems to be like the deck to be playing.
Well, yeah, it's just everybody was already playing Golgari, so they already had the deck and everybody knew how to play the deck. So they're like, splash a Crisis.
Krasis and Thief
And-
of Sanity.
Well, yeah.
And
yeah.
Hadada's Climb too, in some cases.
What card?
That's his home deck, though. It's
Hadada's
not. That's
fine.
not in like the normal Sultai mid range. But-
A lot of those decks are just playing like a copy of it.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Well, it's just real easy to flip it because of Crisis and all that stuff.
And
It's
you're
just-
playing Jade Lights and
Right, it's easy to
Right.
just play it and flip it immediately.
Oh, I'm not
Wild
saying
Growth-
I'm not
Wild
saying
Growth
it's a
Walker,
bad idea.
you know?
I'm just saying I
No.
haven't seen it.
And it's not like they focus on it, it's more of a...
It's just
an
an extra
accidental
thing,
value
you know?
card.
Yeah.
It's like a one of in a lot of the decks, just because
Mhm.
it's like when you're facing down a board of like when you're playing in the mirror, and you both are just sitting there with like Wild Growth Walker and Jade Light and stuff, and then someone goes Hadana's Climb, flip it, make my Wild Growth Walker fly, attack you, hit you for 8, hit you for 9, whatever,
Yeah.
and then they're just like, oh, well, that took this stalemate and turned it upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those cards that they're playing just to like prevent that weird board state where you're both just staring at each other.
Yeah.
In the
It
mirror.
really does break that mirror wide open.
Yeah.
My Crisis is looking at your Crisis, now my Crisis is really big.
Really, really big.
Yeah.
But getting back to Nexus being banned, so far I've seen on stream one Simic Nexus deck, which I think is the best version of it. Playing
Just streamline.
the ooze.
Biogenic
Biogenic
Ooze.
Yeah,
Ooze,
that
yeah.
card's
That's a
really
sweet
good.
way to
That card
win
is
that deck.
really good in that deck.
Yeah, no kidding. What else does it want to do, the Ooze, other than take more turns?
Yeah, make a
someone-
million oozes and
Someone made that deck last week,
clone
right?
them and
Someone did that last week with that deck. That
Yeah.
that was the new deck last week.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Crassus is an ooze?
I'm sure. No.
Yeah.
Jellyfish, Hydra Beast,
I think it's
Jellyfish, Hydra Ooze.
I don't
know.
I don't know.
It's
But
not relevant.
getting back to Nexus.
Okay.
I haven't seen it at the Pro Tour.
Right.
Except for like once. So I don't think there's a need to ban it after this Pro Tour, but you'll never know what kind of things that
Right, and I mean a lot of
Ian
it
Duke
could
and the team are going to talk about.
right. It could be a lot of as well is they don't like showing Nexus on camera because it's kind of boring, and like we saw it with Star City Week 1. There was a Gates deck versus a Nexus deck. They went from like 16,000 viewers to like 9,000 in a matter of like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because
Nobody
everyone's just like,
wants to watch
I don't want to
Nexus.
watch this. Boom. I'm out of here.
All right.
By
That'd
the
be
way,
the reason to
Hydroid
ban it.
Crisis, Jellyfish, Hydra Beast.
Oh, is it? It's
I was
not
right,
an ooze.
yeah.
Okay.
But-
I thought it was an ooze.
But yeah, like if
I
they're
wouldn't
like
have been surprised.
if they're like
I wouldn't have either.
X1, they're probably putting the XO up on the match instead. Like even though like, you know, even though like they've already been on camera once already or whatever, you know, like they try to like vary it out. Like even though there's 2 XOs, like they've both been on the camera the last 2 rounds. So let's put the X1 up, and then they go, oh, this guy's playing Nexus. Let's put the X1s back up, or the XOs back up instead. Like just stuff like that. I'm not saying it's happening because I'm obviously not there. I don't know what it is. I don't know the standings. I don't really do a very good job of keeping us up to date with standings very well outside of the stream.
Yeah.
Which it's a marketing flaw in a way, especially with Grand Prix. I mean, they're not doing anything right now, but they're going to be.
Next week
Yep.
they will have
Yes,
one.
because kind of so the week before, what was it, New Jersey or whatever, something like that. Like the weekend going into that weekend, Wizards like kind of just dropped the bombshell on Channel Fireball, going, "Hey, we're not going to do your coverage for you anymore." And then they were just like, "Oh, well, we don't have a coverage team or anything."
Yeah.
So they took this like last month to figure all that out, and they're going to start it next week.
I think they're only doing a couple though. They're not doing very many.
Right. And I mean, did you see their broadcast crew though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Marshall and Luis are not in the booth together though.
Oh.
I think it's Luis and Huey, and then I forget who Marshall's with. I forget who the other.
At least it's not Owen Turnbull.
Is it
That's all I gotta
Bennett?
say.
What's wrong with Owen? Owen, the O-Rat is fucking
The
great.
O-Rat.
The O-Rat is
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm just not the biggest fan of Owen.
Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to reevaluate that because Owen's great.
Yeah. We'll get into it another
I mean,
time.
I'm gonna have to agree with you here. Oh, it's pretty great.
I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything.
No.
I do not like him as a person.
Owen's just another LSV. It's great.
If you've ever met Owen, you'd probably have different views on him.
Well, on that note, I think we're
yeah.
gonna wrap it up here
Yeah.
before we start talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before
Dan Horgan over here throwing
Yeah.
shade.
Yeah,
Got the
shade.
ORAT,
Throw.
a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
I have no problem
Shut
with
your
it.
mouth, whore.
Rough.
All right. So before we get out of here, we'd like to tell you about Gamestorm. Come join us here. I'm here every Friday. Tom's here pretty much every Friday. Brian's usually here on Fridays.
I'm always here doing
That's all right.
commentary
And
on Sundays
Sundays.
too.
I'm always here
We're gonna
Sundays.
get Brian on commentary one of these weeks when we can get him out of his house.
Yep.
I like to
We'll
be
get
a
him to
hermit.
we'll get his lady to let him off the chain for once.
Whoa, she doesn't keep me on a chain. I just like to crawl back and
And put
see how
myself on
long
the
it
chain.
goes.
Yeah.
And then if you have any questions on Facebook, you can join the Gamestorm Magic group. That's literally the name. And you can message John Bertulis. He'll answer any questions about the store. Also, the days of the week that we do certain things are all posted on that, and they're in event groups already. So yeah, come join us.
All right, we'll see you guys next week or the week after. I can't
Yep.
remember.
Bi-weekly. So
Yep, bi-weekly.
2 weeks from now. See you guys later.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.